From the armpits of a football legend, introducing the essence of Wayne Carey.
Wankery.
A dash of spirit, the scent of euphoria, and barely a hint of regret.
Wankery.
Feel the rush. Take on the force, the power of Wankery.
Wankery.
Take your mark, then make your mark.
Wankery.
With Wankery, number 18.
Wankery.
The new fragrance from Wayne Carey. It's good to be the king.
Wankery.
Tonight on Hungry Beast, you'll have nothing to fear but fear itself. And these deadly freaking robots.
This beetle is the first live, working, real-life military cyborg.
A revolution in fashion for the under ones. And asbestos, the victims, the damages, and a man lost to public view. It's the week remixed. But first, just how fast is your internet?
Last week in Parliament, Kevin Rudd got talking about the National Broadband Network, during which he said this.
If the Liberals had their way, Australians would be left using carrier pigeons for the future rather than accessing an internationally competitive broadband network.
Which got us thinking maybe the Liberals are onto something here. A few months back, a South African IT company tested their own internet speeds by racing it with a carrier pigeon. And the carrier pigeon won.
But we all know that South Africa has race problems. This is Australia. Surely our internet speeds are faster than a pigeon, so we decided to test it out with this.
The Great Australian Internet Challenge. The goal, to see who can transfer 700 megabytes of data in the form of the Marx Brothers classic duck soup the quickest. The starting line is here in Tarrana, in the heart of rural New South Wales, a town which enjoys the same internet coverage as 90% of all connections in Australia. And the finish line is here, 132 kilometres away at a bird coop in Prospect, Western Sydney. The challenges?
Team Telstra. I'll be sending my file to Veronica via the internet. But first, I've got to get myself set up with one of the 2 people in Tarrana who have an internet connection.
Team Pigeon. With thanks to the Rudy Hill Pigeon Racing Club, we got Margaret the Pigeon, who will fly the movie to the finish line. I've got her equipped, motivated. If you don't win, I'll fucking eat you. And a bunch of travelling mates just in case she's attacked by falcons.
And I got a falcon. That's right, Team Falcon will drive the movie from Tarrana to Prospect.
Ready?
Set, go! As the clock struck 9, it was on for Legged and Feathered, who would get 700 megabytes of classic comedy back to Sydney the quickest. The internet, the automobile, or the carrier pigeon.
Okay, we are uploading now. So far it is at 0.2 of a megabyte. But, you know, sometimes these things start slow and get faster. At least that's what I'm banking on.
I wonder if any birds are following me.
I think they're just over there. I think they know a shortcut.
Whilst I've been waiting, I've been doing little things to entice Margaret back home.
Mate, you do realise the birds can't read.
You don't know Margaret!
For the record, I want it known that Chris's relationship with that pigeon, not healthy.
How's Team Telstra?
It's going all very, very nicely, I have to tell you.
And I'm going to win.
You don't even have phone reception. I had to call you on a landline.
Team Telstra was confident, but it never hurts to have a backup plan. I think I see it. There she is.
Lucky for me, Team Telstra are really bad shots. 1 hour into the great internet race and Dan was about halfway. Mark was only 10% uploaded and Margaret was somewhere in this vicinity. That is, if she hadn't been taken by a falcon.
Great, roadworks. Fantastic. So now we have to go at 40 kilometres an hour. Go faster! Oh, why don't we slow down for a picnic?
But then something disastrous happened. The internet crashed. Twice. But hey, Telstra's all about under-promising and over-delivering.
We've just hit a toll road, and paying tolls means we're getting closer to Sydney.
Dan's half an hour away.
Margaret! Welcome to Prospect.
Come on! Come on!
It's number 4. There's a fence open for us.
Why would you just run?
The winners are here! I've got the chip right here!
Congrats. Say hello to Margaret.
Hello. She got here about an hour ago.
An hour ago, why didn't you tell me?
Builds dramatic tension.
What about the internet, Veronica?
Mark's having a bit of an interesting time, I think.
Why?
It's safe to say you looked a little stressed there, Mark, I think.
You could say that. So, in the final wash-up, what were the results?
Well, Margaret the Pigeon stormed in at 1 hour and 5 minutes.
The car clocked a respectable 2 hours and 10 minutes, but what about the internet?
Well, look, even though it was ADSL broadband, it said the upload would take anywhere between 4 and 9 hours. Then the net cut out twice, the second time for good. So, Team Telstra, total failure.
Good result.
So you mean that we're even worse than South Africa?
Don't rub it in. Just don't.
So, Prime Minister, maybe you should think twice before dissing carrier pigeons, because if you live in regional Australia and need to send large files...
Anything is better than the internet.
I think Kevin Rudd shouldn't swear because it's rude and nobody will be friends with you. I like Malcolm Turnbull because he doesn't swear. Giuseppe, aged 8. Daily Telegraph, October 26th, 2009.
Earth is a country, not a planet, right? Or is it? Jenna, Beauty and the Geek, Channel 7, October 22nd, 2009.
Researchers who wanted to explore the observational powers of people have discovered 3 out of 4 men and women using mobile phones failed to spot a clown on a unicycle as he darted past them. Rich JM, Current.com, October 21st, 2009.
This beetle is the first live, working, real-life military cyborg. Electrodes have been grafted to its brain and wings, allowing it to be controlled remotely. Just last week, experts warned that drones such as these could be used to deliver chemical or biological weapons. This is Peter Singer, author of Wired for War and former defence policy advisor to Barack Obama.
Integrating this into animals in certain weird and wild and somewhat scary ways as control systems, using implants steer where things like insects are going. Sounds like really crazy, weird science fiction, but again, this is the kind of technology we're working on right now.
Today, military robotics covers everything from insects that are combined with machines to killing machines that hover like insects, such as the recently discontinued multiple kill vehicle.
The Missile Defense Agency's multiple kill vehicle. Execute the kill autonomously.
If these cyborgs and machines look like something out of a movie or video game, that's no coincidence.
The impact of science fiction is all over the place on our real-world technologies. Funders get their ideas of what they want to build from science fiction as well. I remember talking with a Marine officer, a U.S. Marine officer, who talked about how he was watching Empire Strikes Back with his son on the weekend, saw a certain technology and said, you know what, that would be really useful in Iraq and Afghanistan.
In one case, the military even asked for a system that looks like the hunter-killer robot from Terminator. And military robots and the entertainment industry don't just share ideas, they share the technology itself. This reconnaissance robot, used by soldiers in Iraq, is actually controlled by a gamepad. And this 6-ton machine gun-equipped truck, nicknamed the Crusher, can be run with an Apple iTouch music player. The crossover between military robotics and popular culture goes further, and often it starts in an unexpected place.
Almost every young graduate student, young professor out there, most of them are taking money from the military for their research. And on things that they'll say, you know what, it has nothing to do with the military at all. I remember a scientist talking about that who the US Navy was funding his baseball playing robot project. It was because the game of baseball involves throwing a ball and being able to predict where the trajectory of it is going to take it. A lot like it'd be really useful to be able to predict where a cannon shell is going to land. The game of baseball, like other games, involves a complex set of rules. And so, of course, if you can program a robot to be able to follow those complex rules, very useful for other games, like the game of war.
In the game of war, serious questions are starting to arise about what we're asking machines to do. This robot sentry gun relies solely on its artificial intelligence to decide who and what to shoot.
There are certain things that machines can already do better than any human. For example, raw calculating power, their ability to do pattern recognition. But then there's other parts of human intelligence that machines can't reach now, and guess what? They may never be able to reach. Being able to figure out when someone's telling a lie, or figure out when someone's happy or sad and how to appropriately respond. The sword system is so accurate that it can turn a machine gun into a sniper rifle. But it can't naturally tell the difference between that apple and a tomato, which any 2-year-old can do. A robot looks at an 80-year-old grandmother in her wheelchair the exact same way it looks at a T-80 tank. They're both just zeros and ones in the programming language.
Increasingly autonomous, powerful, and accurate robots are now being designed to work together in packs.
They're proliferated, they're autonomous, that they operate along what they call a swarm system model. That is, they spread out across the battlefield, but then they find the bad guy and swarm around him, just like bees would, just like a wolf pack operates, those sorts of things.
Within the US military, plans exist to build a, quote, unassailable internet in the sky. One researcher said they should just go ahead and call it Skynet. Next week we ask, what will this mean for us?
It's a technology that offers these incredible new capabilities, but more important is the questions that it forces us to ask. Questions about what's possible, questions about the right and wrong that we didn't have to think about before.
Robot Wars, the final chapter, next week on Hungry Beast.
There's only one commandment in the vegetarian Bible: don't eat meat. So if you're a vegetarian who eats fish, let me tell you something. Fish is meat. Fish have mothers, fathers, brothers, drunk uncles. A fish is not a carrot. So what do real vegetarians think of these fence sitters?
Well,
probably the same way I felt when hipsters started wearing glasses without lenses in them. I have a disability. You can't care about all the world's creatures except those rich in omega-3s. There are no degrees of meatness. I don't eat pork because I don't really like it. But I don't say I'm a vegetarian who eats fish, cows, sheep and bacon elements of pig. I just say I don't like pork. You can eat fish or you can be a vegetarian. But a vegetarian that eats fish, that's a little bit bullshit.
The US airline industry discards enough aluminium cans every year to build nearly 58 Boeing 747s. Scientific American. South Korea has more than 1,000 trained counsellors and 190 hospitals and treatment centres for internet addiction. Monocle. Emily Howe's soon-to-be-released classical album has already achieved critical acclaim. Emily, however, is a computer program capable of original compositions. Some composers and musicians are refusing to play her music, and others have requested she be killed. The Times.
on Monday, it was announced that James Hardie's compensation fund for the victims of asbestos-related disease may run out next year, which is bad news for a lot of Australians. James Hardie has a long and complex corporate history, so we've hit the rewind button on the whole saga.
Wismum was built in the 1940s.
Australia's only blue asbestos field.
It was
not uncommon to be looking for someone who is standing 10 feet away from you and be totally unable to see them through the pall of dust.
One company which believes it's got the dust problem beaten, the James Hardie Group, Australia's biggest user of asbestos.
But I think in a modern asbestos factory, they are safe.
That is a normal lung, and that is the lung of someone who's died from mesothelioma. It's rather like having concrete poured into your chest.
I wouldn't have lost my husband or my parents if it hadn't been for the asbestos.
Were you told to wear masks? Were you warned in any way of the danger?
Never. James Hardie, now based in the Netherlands.
James Hardie can run to Netherlands, but they can't hide.
Australia has the highest recorded national incidence in the world of mesothelioma.
This company produced products from 1930 that killed people.
Nobody in that management team or the board were part of the company when asbestos was manufactured.
Legacy issues.
It is,
legacy
by
issues.
definition.
Is that what the asbestos victims were?
What we're trying to accomplish is an agreement that allows James Hardie to remain profitable.
What an insidious, silent killer this rotten thing is.
If Hardie's compensation fund for the victims of asbestos runs dry, thousands of Australians could be affected, including, possibly, you. Because there's no way of knowing exactly how much asbestos is still out there, or how many people may yet be affected, since many houses across suburban Australia are still riddled with the stuff. Kirk Docker met Wade Rogers, an asbestos remover, to get an idea of the size of the problem.
Is all that asbestos all the way along, all those different roofs?
Yeah, if you have a look, you've got the walls on this shed.
Yeah.
And all of that house.
Fuck, that whole house?
Then this roof.
Yeah.
That roof. And the walls to both of those sheds. See the walls on the shed through there? Across here, you've got another asbestos shed through there in front of the green car.
Shit.
And then on all of these places, you'll have the eaves.
How uncommon is that to see as much as this everywhere? Is this rare?
It goes in suburbs, no, but some suburbs you'll have not only every shed, but every house will be fibro. So it'll just go like that. So there's another one there.
Like just from what we can see here, you're going to get work for a while yet.
Oh, it's very hard to estimate, but there'd be 50 years of it, of ripping it out, you know.
Shit.
A minute ago, you saw what a lung with mesothelioma looks like. It's hard to imagine living with lungs that badly damaged, but Jeanette Hennessy-Wright has spent the last 12 months doing just that. Jeanette received a payout from Hardie's after she was diagnosed with mesothelioma last year, one of a small number of sufferers to live longer than 9 months. Keeping on top of the disease is, for her, a daily battle. This is her story.
My exposure to asbestos came about when we put on an extension to the house. I was about 6 at the time. We used to use the offcuts to draw pictures on with clay and make models on. We thought all of that was good material for our cubbies. It was last year I started losing weight, but I really got worried when I went away to the Blue Mountains and I couldn't walk back up the hill with them when we'd gone to have a look at the escarpment. I thought I had maybe asthma and thought that was terrible. Little did I know. And after the surgery, again, it took a couple of weeks' wait to get the pathology tests back to say, yes, it was mesothelioma and there's nothing we can do for you. I think my first reaction was, God, I've only got 12 months to live, I better tidy up the house and leave it in good shape. I dissolved into tears a few times on my own because all of a sudden I thought, I'm not going to see my kids grow up. I'm not going to be around to do the things like I just turned 50 and I was planning the rest of my life because finally the kids were old enough to be left at home and I was getting a bit more freedom, and so I was really looking forward to having a pretty active time. It feels like it's just constricting a chest. I'm fortunate that I only have it around one lung at the moment, but my lung is probably down to being about a third of its normal size. The stats say that 95% of people are dead within 12 to 18 months of diagnosis. It's not very encouraging, not when I look around and I've got a young family that I want to see grow up and, see my grandchildren. I even started writing up my own funeral plan, the sort of music I'd like, that type of thing. The worst thing of this disease is because of the death sentence that seems to be so attached to it, it robbed me of that chance to really keep those dreams alive. Thankfully, I had proof. I was very fortunate that Mum was a hoarder and she'd kept dockets that had James Hardie on it. I'm not the only one impacted by this. I've got a family and they're all suffering with me. I'm not alone.
I think you've got to speak out, because they obviously knew it was bad for people and they still kept selling it.
It's a time bomb that's still out there waiting to hit a lot of people. I was 6 when I was exposed, and at 51 is when I found out it was about to rob me of my life.
So what about James Hardie themselves? Their record as a corporate citizen is pretty scary. Here's a man who knows all about it.
Meet John B. Reid, the hidden man in the James Hardie story. His grandfather bought the James Hardie Company in 1911. It quickly became Australia's leading asbestos producer. By the early 1930s, evidence of the dangerous effects of asbestos was mounting. In 1939, the company received its first compensation claim. A lawyer by training, John Reid started as a legal officer at Hardie's in 1957. In 1964, he was appointed to the board of Hardie's. By this time, a safety officer had argued asbestos was one of the most dangerous of industrial poisons. Reid replaced his father as chairman in 1973. Hardie's continued to sell asbestos despite knowing the deadly risks associated with exposure. In 1987, the company finally decided to stop producing asbestos. Public outrage and successful attempts to replace the product led to Hardie's decision. Reid retired as chairman of James Hardie in 1995. By that time, the company had received 540 compensation claims. By 2020, 53,000 are expected to have developed an asbestos-related disease. James Hardie is considered responsible for the majority of Australian cases. Reid remains a respected corporate figure. A book he wrote about corporate governance says it is a company director's duty to be vigilant, and that if directors have questions that cause unease, they should be acted upon sooner rather than later. There are a lot of questions that have not been asked of John Reid, nor answered by him. Asbestos, disease, thousands of dead Australians, and being vigilant. All on the public record, all part of the world of John B. Reid.
If you'd like to contact James Hardie, their current CEO is Louis Gries, and his telephone number in Amsterdam is 0011 3120 301 2980.
$23,000, the price of a Mont Blanc pen made in celebration of Gandhi. The secretary of his old ashram said, Gandhi would say it should be tossed in the trash. $160 million, the amount lost by the Anglican Diocese of Sydney during the global financial crisis. $15 billion, the amount that alcohol costs the Australian economy every year in lost productivity, medical costs and deaths.
As the obesity epidemic sweeps through Australia's youth, one local designer is leading the fight back with a revolutionary new product. It's a story so big we can only send one woman to report on it. Everything she says, Tony Jones takes as a comment. She is Victoria Dynamite.
It's every parent's worst nightmare, bringing an obese baby into the world.
This infant is sadly a part of a growing epidemic. 122% of babies are born overweight. But try getting this kid on a diet. Fat chance.
Help may be at hand. And the lady for this hand job, fashion designer Gemma Guillerpo.
I really believe it's...
She was bad at talking, but said this will revolutionise the infant lingerie industry. Skinny Mini is made of Lycra, shaping the figure and tucking in fatty bits to streamline the baby's form. Wendy Potter is a mother. She takes Pilates on Tuesday nights and has a Chinese cleaner.
She's just so much prettier now, you know, and I think the thing about it is that I really feel that she's now living the life that she always wanted.
Wendy believes Skinny Mini made her baby look 5 kilos lighter in seconds.
If you see the difference between that curvature there and that sveltness there,
right?
See how slim she is through the waist.
So a lot slimmer. How has Skinny Mini changed your baby's life?
I just think she's fundamentally happier. And obviously, her father and I love her much more, and that can only be a good thing.
Wendy's baby is pretty slim and sitting pretty, just like I'm sitting on this horse with Saddle Up Adventures. Now you can go on a 2-hour horseback trail ride for just $65. Saddle Up, it's a hoof away from the city.
We hope you enjoyed the show. We certainly enjoyed entertaining and, if you're scared of robots, terrorising you.
Speaking of terror, there's a rumour this week that K-Rudd might be on the front cover of Rolling Stone. How on earth do you make a policy wonk look cool? Perhaps they'll give this a go.
Oh, holy God. OK, if you'd like to be disturbed by that image all over again, you can visit our website where you'll also find brand new stories throughout the week.
And you can also find the contact details for James Hardie.
We'll see you back here at the same time next week. Until then, goodbye.